Okay, well, welcome to Meet the Candidate. And this interview is with Mike Diaz, who is running for Supreme Court Justice position number three. I'm glad you could join me, and I'll make a note. This is a Saturday afternoon, so thanks for making time.
Thanks to you for inviting me and for you making time on your weekend.
Yeah, just came from a firefighter pancake breakfast, so
Hmm.
we're in good shape. I have some very simple questions that are just about you as a person, and then we'll end with giving you 1 to 2 minutes to wrap up with making your election pitch as a candidate for why you're the best candidate for the position. So, first question is, I see from your voters pamphlet writing that you grew up in Seattle. What are some things that you maybe really enjoyed about that childhood in Seattle?
Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yeah, my family and I immigrated from Peru when I was just a child. Came from Lima and landed straight in Seattle. We moved around a little bit. In elementary school, I was in Ballard, and which was then very working class. It was Scandinavian immigrants still, some German immigrants, a lot of shipbuilding, machine shop building. And then when I was in junior high and for all of high school, I was down in the South End in the White Center Burien area. And something I enjoyed about both places, they were both extremely welcoming communities to my family. I mean, we were the only Latino family in Ballard, and felt like anywhere in the North End. But we went to all the same schools, we played all the same sports. They welcomed us into all their friend groups, at least the kids, and we really got to take advantage of the opportunities. And though White Center was more diverse, it used to be German and Italian immigrants. When I was there, it was Southeast Asians and Latino immigrants. It was also very welcoming. Just great places to grow up, great places to ride your bike and play video games at the corner shops and things like that. It was just wonderful.
Yeah, immigrant stories often have overlaps no matter where someone started out.
Mhm.
So, also, I like to ask about first work experience when you had an opportunity to connect. I'm getting paid and I'm doing this work.
Ye-
What might that have
Yeah.
been?
Yeah, my very first job was working as a bag boy at Albertsons, the White Center Albertsons. I think it's now something else. It was right across from the Taco Time down there. Um, it uh, it was it wasn't the hardest job, but it wasn't also the easiest job. I'd probably work about 4 hours, um, a couple weeknights a week on the weekends. I mean, literally just bagging groceries and then moving things around, walking people to their cars. I did it so that I could earn enough to play sports. There were still some sports fees and costs that my folks couldn't quite afford, or at least didn't. It would be helpful to have that, and to buy equipment that they weren't exactly keen in buying for me. But it was good. It was a good first experience, and yeah, it does definitely impress upon you the value of hourly wage work,
Mhm.
which, when you go out after work with your $200 paycheck and a meal costs $20, you realize, wow, that was a tenth of my, whatever, my month's pay kind of thing. So it was good in that way for sure.
Yeah, my it took my godson working an hourly job in a warehouse to decide that maybe he'd like to go to school and finish his schooling after all.
Mm. Hmm.
He's on his way to follow your path, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
So, also books and common culture. What's a book that you've read in the last year or so? And maybe you don't read because as a judge you have to read a lot. But is there a book that you've enjoyed reading?
we do read a ton. As a Court of Appeals judge, I mean, that's our primary job is to read the briefs
Hmm.
and all the cases and do all the research. And so my eyes are often very tired, and so often my time is focused more on reading magazines. I like the Atlantic in particular, but
Hmm.
most recently I've been reading the Odyssey again, because the movie's coming out. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw that, the Christopher Nolan movie. My daughters and my wife are going to go see the Odyssey tonight, and so I'm reading it again. It's been a few years since I've read it. But yeah, I mean, when you go back to books, it's particularly interesting as you age and you see them new again. You see things
Mm.
maybe that you didn't see the first time, especially if you have a book like that that you loved ever since you first read it as a kid, and then over time you see depths to it, because it is the story of a middle-aged man, middle-aged person really trying to find their way, quote unquote, home, and all the obstacles that are there. And so when you reach middle age, you kind of view it in a different lens than the adventure stories or maybe the mythological stories, which are very interesting, or that kind of thing. So yeah, no, it's great.
That's a good point. I should put that back on my reading list. I also read it in high school, and it's been a while, and I probably would see it completely differently now. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And there are a lot of great new translations out there, by the way. I mean, the ones in the 30s. I studied some Greek philosophy when in graduate school between college and law school. And so that, I mean, Odyssey is not philosophy, but we did a lot of Greek culture stuff. And there are a lot of new translations just in the last 20 years,
hmm.
including modern language poetry translations, feminist translations, things like that, which also give you different perspectives on the book.
Oh, that's an interesting point. I didn't know that. And then, so speaking of movies, is there, besides the movie that you're going to see tonight, is there a movie that has stuck with you through the years that you've or seen recently that made an impression?
Yeah, one of my favorite movies ever is Unforgiven. That's a
Mm.
Clint Eastwood movie.
Hmm.
It's with the amazing Gene Hackman and the equally amazing Morgan Freeman, and it's really about. I mean, it's about a guy who goes back to avenge a death, which is a story that a lot of different books cover, but it's also a story about creating civilization
Mm.
and what it means to and I kind of put civilization in quotes, but trying to create a system where there is none, whether that's a law and order system or whether it's an economic system or whether it's a legal system, and how much tension, and in that case, for the movie purpose, violence can result in it. It's really, I mean, just fascinating to me, and the acting's incredible, and the script is just perfect. There's no wasted words, which is
Hmm.
something I like, both in legal writing, but then also in my movie watching too.
Well, that movie has three actors that never disappoint. So
Mhm.
that would be a good one to follow. Well, I'd like to wrap this up and give you the opportunity to make your pitch for why is Mike Diaz the best choice for Supreme Court Justice position number three.
Yeah, well, again, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I think it's just such a wonderful public service, especially in this time when our Supreme Court races maybe have never gotten more attention because of the number of positions. As you know, there are five positions that are being opened up. Four will be on the primary ballot, and then also because of the big issues coming down the pike. And I guess what I try to impress on your watchers and viewers and listeners is just that I have a unique combination of personal and professional experiences that I think have prepared me for this job. So personally, as I mentioned, I immigrated from Peru to the working class neighborhoods of Seattle, and grew up in a welcoming community. And part of the reason it's a welcoming community is because the rule of law allows it to be a welcoming community. It undergirds what a welcoming community is. And then professionally, I've been in the law for over 25 years, 10 as a federal civil rights lawyer at the U.S. Justice Department, the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Seattle, where I founded the Civil Rights Unit. And now I'm in my ninth year of judging. I've both been a trial court and appellate court judge. And that across the 16 candidates, I don't know how many you're going to end up talking to, but across the 16 candidates, I'm the only candidate who has both of those experiences. So I can read a transcript, and that's what we read on the Court of Appeals and what I would read on the Supreme Court. We can read what happened below with an understanding eye. And then we've also have experience writing the opinions, and then communicating to people our decisions in a way that people can understand and can buy into, which is very important for the legitimacy of the court. So ultimately, I want to just continue my public service, to continue to create this welcoming community that I was so lucky to join here in Washington. So with that, I'll leave all the endorsements, all the other things to the side, and I'll just direct people to my website, which is diazforjustice.com.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me in my quest to make people be paying better attention to the primary as well as to the judicial races that are an important part of balancing our three parts of government. So thank you for joining me, Mike.
Exactly. Thanks so much.
All
See
right.
you. Take care.
Bye-bye.